The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Wicked Weeds studio. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. This is the Sportsocracy. Be sure to like, share, and follow the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. Hit that subscribe button so you can get all the draft prep that we are churning out here for the big day of the NFL Draft, Thursday night's first round. We are going to be live for all 3 days of the NFL Draft. It's going to be a whole lot of fun here in the Wicked Weed studio. Lots of jokes, lots of analysis, and probably a whole lot of drinking as well.
A lot of swearing. There's going to be a lot of bad words for me.
The Las Vegas Raiders 7-round mock draft. Who will the Raiders decide to select here? Chucky and Mike Mayock, they've been building something. This is a team that can't get out of its own way. They can't become, an actual threat.
I think they will, because I think that we've talked about our favorite draft classes. This might be mine.
It's a very good.
Because I have them making a trade with my fighting New York Jets.
All right, so Las Vegas will end up getting the number 23 pick from the New York Jets, as well as 107 overall. They will send 17 and 162 to the Jets. And with the 23rd pick, they will select Christian Barmore, defensive tackle out of Alabama. Hands down, the best defensive tackle in this class.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, he's a space eater. He's very good. The super flexible, a lot of burst for a big guy. Great pass rusher from the interior. I mean, I don't know how much more great I can say about him. The negative, only one season as a starter, and the tape against Tennessee and Florida was disgustingly bad. Mm-hmm. He disappeared for extended periods of time. Those 2 games are literally the only negative I have to say about him. There's been a little talk about maybe some maturity issues. I haven't seen it. I haven't, nothing there to me. I love Christian Barmore, and I think this would be an absolute home run for the Raiders.
Absolutely. He was a guy that was all over the place in the college football playoff in both of those games, and he's just an impact playmaker that they can pick up at defensive tackle. With their second pick in the NFL Draft at number 48 overall, you got him taking Walker Little, a tackle out of Stanford.
I do. I like Walker Little a lot. This is a guy that didn't play last year. I haven't seen him play in a long time. Big guy, 6'7", 310. Career kind of got stunted by injuries and then the opt-out. I haven't seen him in 2 years. And literally it's 2 years because he played 1 game of the previous year. Mm-hmm. I thought this is a guy that should have come back. But if you go back to the 2018 tape, this is a guy that we talked about being a first-round pick. Could have developed into a left tackle. I think he starts as a right tackle in the NFL and could eventually develop into a left tackle. He has really good feet for a big guy. There's a lot of tape to really like on him. If you take away the injury and the time off, there's really not a negative to his game. The 12 games I saw in 2018, good enough for me to go, yep, I want that guy. But it is scary, a guy that you're going to take in the second round that you hadn't seen in 2 years.
Yeah. At 79 overall in the third round, Amon-Ra St. Brown, a wide receiver out of Southern Cal.
I love this guy. This guy was on the Chase Claypool team. I'm all in, full steam ahead, all gas, no brake, whatever line you want to use on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really like this kid. I think he's not a burner, not overly big, but he's got really loose hips, constantly makes the first man miss. He's just really in control of his body, and that tends to be something that leads to really good things in the NFL. This is a guy that I think can go across the middle for this team. Kind of a yin to the yang with Henry Ruggs, because Henry Ruggs is very much a one-trick kind of guy because he's so damn fast. Amon-Ra St. Brown can do the dirty work over the middle. Didn't have a lot against press. It didn't have a lot of tape against press coverage. I don't really care. Wasn't great on the outside. I don't care. I don't care.
Now, there's a lot of wide receivers already on this team. How do you see him? Where does he carve out his role? Does he take over for Hunter Renfrow? where would he get his most?
I guarantee you they're not worried about what Hunter Renfro's role is if they're looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because you say there's a lot of receivers. Okay, name me one past the two you just said.
I mean, they just picked up John Brown.
Yeah, and I like John Brown.
And they got Willie Snead.
John Brown stays hurt constantly. Stop it with Willie Snead. Willie Snead is he's a half-ass version of Hunter Renfrow. The only reason he's looked good in Baltimore is because you're so scared that Lamar Jackson's going to take off and run. I'm not worried about Willie Snead. I do like John Brown. Hunter Renfro's a slot guy. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown can be a second.
And then Brian Edwards, who they just took in the draft last year.
Okay.
You didn't understand that one? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'll give you Brian Edwards. That's just a guy that I'm getting nervous that we jumped all over the physical on him in the pre-draft because it has been radio silence about him.
Yep.
He was super hyped in preseason last year, and then
nothing. Amon-Ra saying, I'm not knocking the pick. I'm just curious where he fits in with all the other receivers.
I don't think Willie Snead's going to make this roster, just so you know.
Oh, okay. At number 80, so back-to-back picks here in the third round for the Las Vegas Raiders, Fedi Melifonwu, cornerback out of Syracuse.
He's very long, but he doesn't play that long. The reason that he falls to the third round is because he is a 6'3" corner that plays like he's about 6 foot tall. And that bothers me. He doesn't bully guys. He's not particularly strong in press. He wasn't asked to do a lot of press. That's the one caveat, is that it's not that I've seen bad tape of him doing that. I've just never seen him do it. They didn't ask him to. His brother was famously he was a thing. Obi Melifonwu. Raider fans probably remember him just a little bit. I think this kid's tremendously more talented. He's more actual player to where Obi was just athlete. I think he's got great burst, very smooth, and he's a crazy good athlete for his size. This is a guy that, if developed appropriately, can be an outside corner in this league for a long time.
At 121, Deontay Brown, a guard out of Alabama in the fourth round.
He reminds me of Solomon Kinley from last year. Oddly enough, a guy that went to LSU. Big run blocking. It can do a lot of really good things in the run game. Oddly enough, pass block grade is higher. There's reasons for that, but I think he can be a decent guard as a pass blocker. I think he can be a very good, at 6'4", 350, is a gigantic human being. I think he can be a space eater, open up holes for Kenyon Drake and for Josh Jacobs. 2 picks in the fifth round. The first taking a safety from Florida State, Hamza Nasruddin. Hey, you remember that thing that I said about Melifonwu a minute ago? Nasruddin is just a fucking unicorn freak of a human being. I think he plays that Isaiah Simmons role, the Joker, that new hybrid role that it seems every team's trying to find, and I think he can do that. He has the length to deal with blockers. He's a very good tackler. Here's the problem: he's not a playmaker at all. This is a guy that doesn't play the ball. This is a guy that doesn't, and not a lot of really reading things out. I think he's going to have to learn to trust his eyes, trust his instincts. He's going to need some time. He kind of reminds me of George Iocco that played for the Bengals a few years ago.
At 167, Dylan Moses, a linebacker out of Alabama. Now, I like Dylan Moses. I've bought into Dylan Moses when the hype train started when he was in the 8th grade. He suffered through some injuries. I get that could be a concern. I just don't understand what the big concern is with him at the next level. He's an amazing tackler, and he could get after ball carriers.
Okay, tell me, other than his ability to tackle, what else does he do well?
Well, that's a good question.
There you go. There's not anything. I've watched the tape on it. I've tried to figure it out.
Right.
After the ACL, he hasn't been nearly as athletic. When he hits on women in bars, I guarantee you he just stares at them until they talk to him because his eyes do not do what they should.
Oh.
This is a guy whose eye discipline is fucking horrendous. He gets caught staring at quarterbacks and just gets burned. I mean, it's pathetic how bad he is in the flats. Doesn't line up well with tight ends. I think he's going to be a coverage liability in the NFL. But he is so talented as a tackler that you're going to find a place for him. And I think having somebody like Corey Littleton. No, a guy named Corey Littleton. Yeah. having a guy like that next to you that is a little bit more of a coverage guy, I think that will help. And if you can teach him eye discipline, he could be an effective linebacker in the NFL. He's just really lazy with his eyes. Doesn't play overly fast. He gives you virtually nothing against the pass. So my fear is that teams are going to know that going in, and they see him on the field and just go, that one.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I think he ends up being a special teamer that's just a really damn good tackler.
At number 200 in the 6th round, cornerback out of Duke, Mark Gilbert, going to the Las Vegas Raiders.
The best thing I can tell you about him is his first cousin is Darrelle Revis. Tall, lanky kid, 6'1", 175, needs to add a little weight. Injuries, Jesus, Jehovah, God, the injury on this guy are awful. I mean, he's got a medical history that would make, good Lord have mercy.
Yikes.
If you look at his medical history, you would think, is he a living, breathing human?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he's broken every bone in his entire body, and he will be 24 before he steps on the field. That being said, there is a lot of natural, you can tell, just natural ability, a lot of natural talent. Very good. He's the exact opposite of Dylan Moses. His eyes are very disciplined. His feet line up with his eyes. His body lines up with his feet. Everything's good there. The injuries scare the hell out of me. And he's not overly fast. There are some teams that view him as a safety. I am not one of those. And he needs to bulk up because contact has been a problem.
Well, the Raiders have a lot of picks to work with here in the 2021 NFL Draft. And real quick, Mike Mayock, how do you think he's been doing building this team, coming from, an analyst perspective into the front office?
Mike Mayock gives me a reason to wake up in the morning because he's done exactly what I want to do. I want to go from analyst to GM of a football team. I think he's done a great job. Now, I think, Gruden's hands are all over this, but I look at Mayock as a guy that I always respected his opinion as an analyst. Mm-hmm. I thought he did a very good job scouting guys when he worked for NFL Network, and I think he's doing a good job with the Raiders. I mean, think about how much better this team is now than it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, they are markedly better. The problem is we haven't seen it translate to wins on the football field.
Yeah, you have, because they went from being one of the worst teams in the league
mm-hmm.
to a team that just missed the playoffs.
Yeah, but still,
that's quite a market
team.
jump. That's quite a market jump from when you picked it 4 the first year you had Mike Mayock.
This is very true. And still, they overdrafted in that draft. But
Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah,
he's still fine. He's doing stuff.
He's fine. He's fine. Las Vegas Raiders, all their picks, you can see them live right here in the Sportsocracy. We'll be live all 3 days of the NFL Draft. Don't forget to join us for the Draft Spectacular here in the Wicked Weed Studio. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.